Right. Good morning, Trinidad and Tobago. Good morning to all of you loyal listeners of the street 919 FM. As always, thank you for choosing the street as your frequency of choice this Sunday morning to take you through the rest of, well, what may be considered the morning drive time, so to speak, as we head up to 1 o'clock. So wherever you're taking us in, whether it's on the radio or you're listening to us on the social media platforms, Facebook and YouTube, which I believe is up, so you can join us there. Good morning to all of you. To Mr. and Mrs. Giuseppe, good morning. Mr. and Mrs. Regis, good morning. Morning, Angie. To Mother Tunapuna, morning, Mano. Patsy Edwards, Nicole Caesar, good morning to you guys. Davia Andrews, morning. To all of the Allisons, Allison Samuel, Allison Rojas, Allison Haynes, good morning to all of you folks. Right, let me see. Right, yeah. Yeah, and again, to all of our loyal listeners and the trolls too, who tune in, notwithstanding the fact that they have options, that they could have gone to some of these other stations that just push propaganda. Yeah, but as I say, the truth is addictive. Yeah, so, right. So let me say congratulations to the boss, Neil Iwer George, on his receipt of a national award for his contribution to culture. Certainly a well-deserved award. Congratulations to him, to Marshall Montano, and by extension all of the other awardees, persons who would have received their national awards last night for their contribution in some sphere or another to the overall development of Trinidad and Tobago. Yeah, that is a privilege that majority of citizens would not have in their lifetimes. So those who would have distinguished themselves and who would have been deemed worthy to receive such, well, congratulations to all of you. And then, of course, condolences goes out to the family of Hazel Brown, who I believe would have passed away on Friday, I think it was. Certainly she would be missed in the mass fraternity, because I know every year she used to present baby doll mass, or was it, yeah, you know, so we used to look forward to that, to her one of her presentations, which used to focus more on social issues, you know, rather than the traditional bacchanal and commerce. But, you know, she would have made other contributions to national life in Trinidad and Tobago with her advocacy for different social issues. So, condolences to her family and also to the family of Gwendolyn Snaggs, the wife of former Police Commissioner Everett Snaggs, who I believe also passed away, better known as Nurse Snaggs. So, yeah. Right, so it is now 11:13 or thereabouts. Yeah, so I'm going to deviate a little bit this morning because I was asked by one of our loyal listeners, let me say good morning to Jackie DeBeek, to speak a little bit about yesterday's holiday, it being Republic Day. Yeah, for many people, yesterday was simply a wasted holiday on account of the fact that it would have fallen on a Saturday. So people would have been home away from work anyhow. So whenever a holiday falls on a Saturday, there is, of course, some level of consternation. So we would have seen that taking place yesterday. But really and truly, the significance of Republic Day, unfortunately, is lost to many in this country. It's just seen as another day to probably go to the beach or just stay home and relax. And it was quite evident yesterday, you know, as has been the norm for a number of years. And again, as I said, the significance of what this country would have accomplished or achieved when we became a republic back in 1976, most people aren't probably aware of or just simply don't care. I was looking at a program last night, I think it was on TV6 or one of those stations, and it was a program where you had a gentleman was interviewing persons on the street, asking them about their views on Republic Day, what Republic Day means, and I was surprised at some of the answers that you would have gotten. I saw a Coast Guardsman was interviewed, and the guy asked him, so what is the meaning of Republic Day? And he says, well, Republic Day is the day we became a republic. I couldn't understand a Coast Guardsman. That's his explanation. Yeah, so, well, let me just see here. Okay. Right. So there were a few. I mean, as I said, I'm just going to deviate this morning because I know Sunday is usually the day when we would touch a little bit on the bacchanals and so on that would have happened during the course of the week. Certainly, I wanted to touch on the issue of the revelations made by former Chief Secretary Ansel Dennis in response to Farley Augustine's revelation on Thursday with respect to the audit report. But we will touch on that on Tuesday. Yeah. So we just take it down a little light this Sunday. But A and J. Right. So based on the research that I was asked to do into Republic Day, you know, and I learned a few things that I found to be rather interesting with respect to the whole mindset and what was the thinking behind us becoming a republic, right? And again, as I said before, it is lost to many people, unfortunately. But for instance, a lot of people may not know or may not be aware, notwithstanding the fact that we celebrate Republic Day on the 24th of September, that we actually became a republic on the 1st of August, 1976. But of course, that day already being a holiday, which was Discovery Day, a decision was taken to instead observe the Republic holiday on September 24th. And there was some talk, and I recall growing up as a child hearing the talk that the reason why that was so was because Eric Williams wanted to have his birthday celebrated as a holiday every year. And so that's why he chose September 24th to celebrate Republic Day. But of course, nothing could be further from the truth for two reasons. One, the main reason why September the 24th was chosen was because that was the first sitting of the first Republican Parliament, one. And two, Eric Williams' birthday is not September 24th, but in fact, today, September 25th. So he would have been 111 years old today, having been born on this day in 1911, right? And I was surprised, again, in doing my research to come across a video where a noted historian and professor was saying that and repeating that you know, it was because September 24th was Eric Williams' birthday, that is why that was chosen. But in fact, as I said, his birthday is today, right? September 25th. And I mean, one of the main issues, and there's a little there's a clip I want to play for you all a little later on, and I crave your indulgence to allow me to do so. It's a clip from Anil Roberts. And I know you all don't like to hear Anil Roberts, right? But it's a very short clip. And I felt the need to play it, if only because it is a clip in which he's once again criticizing the head of state, the president, Paula May Weeks. And he's following up or piggybacking on an article that was written by his colleague Rudy Endarsing, where he criticized the president for an interview that she did when she went to the UK last week to attend the funeral of Queen Elizabeth. And she did an interview with Sky News. And Rudy Endarsing took issue with that, wrote a long op-ed to the newspaper and so on. And Anil Roberts decided to add his 2 cents to the whole thing. But again, it's the level of disrespect that this man has for the office. Forget the individual. Consider the office, right? But anyway, we will get to that just now. So I said I'm asking you all for permission up front to play that. Yes, some of you all may not want to hear it, but I'm giving you advance notice. So, let me get this here. Right. So, and again, in doing my research, I would have come across where, and this is just my own personal view, in doing my reading, that one of the, or perhaps the main drive or the thinking behind Eric Williams' decision to pursue a Republican status for Trinidad and Tobago was, it seemed, to be an attempt by him, you know, to, how should I put it? It seemed that he was committed to realizing his famous 1961 statement, Massa Day Done, and taking it to the full extreme. So that independence in and of itself was not sufficient to do away with Massa and what Massa would have and the vestiges in local society that represented Massa. So while we would have gotten independence in 1962, I guess from his standpoint, that simply was not enough because we were independent, but we still had as our head of state the British monarch, who was at the time Queen Elizabeth. And when we became a republic in 1976, our head of state was of course no longer the Queen, but we would have gained a president. And it's, you know, it's interesting that you have countries, and Trinidad and Tobago is one of the few countries in the Caribbean that still has Republican status. And that countries like Jamaica, who 60 years, just like Trinidad and Tobago, would have celebrated their 60th anniversary of independence this year. They still have, or still maintain as the head of state, the Queen of England. They still have a Governor General. And in fact, it was only last year when the then Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, now the Prince and Princess of Wales, when they paid a visit to Jamaica last year, that the Prime Minister Andrew Holness would have indicated to them a desire on the part of Jamaica to move away from having the monarch as the head of state and instead to take up Republican status. Barbados becoming a republic last year, I think it was in November, right? So now that Queen Elizabeth has passed, the whole conversation about yeah, now that Queen Elizabeth thanks, Angie. Now that Queen Elizabeth has passed, the whole discussion has come up about Commonwealth countries really and truly seeking to move away from the current status, and more Commonwealth countries that have retained the Queen as their head of state would be moving to become republics, such as New Zealand, Australia. Antigua and Barbuda have indicated that they would be looking to hold a referendum towards exploring that. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, you still have Grenada. So as more and more Commonwealth countries seek to move away from that arrangement, I think you're going to have more falling in line. And again, this question was posed to the president by Sky News, and she would have indicated or intimated her perspective on that the loyalty to the crown would have, for a lot of Commonwealth countries, been rooted in Queen Elizabeth, because that would have been the monarch that most people would have known. And now that she has passed on, that same level of loyalty might not transfer to the new heir, Charles, and therefore we're likely to see more countries becoming Republican. But there's something I wanted to read that I found most interesting, right? You know, and again, of course, the father of the nation, as he is called, Eric Williams, would have been credited or received a lot of credit for us becoming an independent nation, a republic nation. And again, based on my research, it seemed that he was heading along a particular trajectory to remove as many of the vestiges of colonial life from Trinidad and Tobago. And I just wanted to read a little bit from, I think, an article or so that his daughter would have written. And of course, people would say that she was biased because that's his child. But anyway, that's all your business. You know who want to say that. It says, and then I'm going to get once, I just wanted to read this to get this out of the way, and then I'm going to treat with Mr. Roberts, right? So, let me see what it says here. Right. It says Williams was Trinidad and Tobago's head of government for 25 years until he died in office in 1981. Armed with his watchwords, "To educate is to emancipate," Williams set forth to change forever the face of education in Trinidad and Tobago. And the 15 secondary schools nationwide in 1956, with 14,024 students, only 236 of whom were eligible to attend gratis for free, by 1986 had mushroomed to 95 schools plus 2 technical colleges with 150,000 students attending cost-free. And by then, Trinidad and Tobago registered a literacy rate of 95%. And these are the things, unfortunately, that prominence is not placed on whenever we have the discussion about the contribution and the role that the PNM would have played in the development of Trinidad and Tobago. So that when last week at the Monday night forum, sounded more like that should have been called Monday night for plant-like substances, Rudal Munilal could make the statement, well, just drive around the country and everything that you see was built by the UNC under Pandey and under Kamla Prasad Bisesa, and to dismiss the contribution that the significant contribution that the PNM would have made, not just the infrastructural development in Trinidad and Tobago, but in every aspect of society, to me, was a total disrespect, and again reinforces the reason why I call this man the quintessential clown. But I continue. Social welfare too was central to Williams' vision. Book and uniform grants were instituted, as were school feeding program, free bus passes for students and seniors, old age pension, food stamps, subsidies, low-income housing, rent restriction, charitable grants, and healthcare prescription drug funding, infrastructure in water, electricity, telecommunications, major arterial roads, and a developed airline route were also central to his plans to modernize an independent Trinidad and Tobago. The ill wind that blew somebody some good, as he termed in the 1970s energy crisis in an address to the nation in December of 1973, ensured that oil and natural gas could be harnessed as downstream industries rather than exporting the country's natural resources merely for cash. This allowed for the significant job creation in the marketing and distribution of products derived from them. Thus, Trinidad and Tobago became the world's second largest producer of ammonia and the leading exporter of natural gas to America. Williams was nevertheless mindful that development has a face, and that is the face of man. Development must therefore cater for the total needs of that man. And as the founder of Trinidad and Tobago's first modern political party in 1956, the PNM, Williams established the Women's League, encouraging women's participation in all facets of the party. And Williams's support for women's role in formal politics reflected his commitment to gender equality. During a cabinet meeting, one male minister used an expletive, objected to by another because of the presence of women, and Williams countered, "There are no women in my cabinet, only ministers." In the international arena, while Williams rightly prioritized the Twin Island Republic, he maintained a fierce conviction that endorsed regional interest, and almost 2 decades before the establishment of the European Economic Community, Williams actively championed a federation for the West Indies, becoming an articulate and persistent advocate of their political federation and economic integration. Right. Williams understood independence as more than just political freedom. It also meant dismantling structures that replicated the old imperial order, and he was not afraid to do so. And so this is why I would have said earlier on that based on my research, the impression that I got that our achievement of Republican status was another significant milestone in Eric Williams' journey towards true independence of Trinidad and Tobago. And again, as I said, his 1961 declaration, Massa Day done. And so what he sought to do was to remove, again, a number of the, as he called it here, relics and vestiges that he saw as being, what's the word I'm looking for, as being emblematic of the presence of Massa in Trinidad and Tobago. So, upon the independence of their colonies, the British customarily offered a golden handshake, that is, money to be used to buy British goods. The only post-colonial leader to refuse was Williams, who invoked the spectre of colonial exploitation and its relationship to the construction of the British economy. He further claimed the amount insufficient and the attached strings as an insult. Williams did not spare the Americans either. During World War II, with Trinidad and Tobago still a British colony, Britain leased Chaguaramas, a peninsula on the northwestern coast of Trinidad, to America for 99 years. Williams discovered that the legislature had not ratified the transaction, however, and insisted that America return the land to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. The Americans fought hard, and documents released under the U.S. Freedom of Information Act demonstrate that twice the U.S. State Department discussed removing Williams from office. And as the U.S. consul told the Secretary of State, "We must disengage with Williams and work for his ultimate demise." We can only surmise what demise meant, but it was not uncommon for America to work behind the scenes to depose and allegedly dispose of national leaders who refused to kowtow to the United States. Williams won the battle, and in addition to relinquishing Chaguaramas, the Americans proffered vital economic assistance, such as roadway construction and an arts and sciences college at Iwer, Trinidad and Tobago. Williams also challenged the Russians. On a 1975 visit, he was so incensed by Russian insistence that Trinidad and Tobago ratify the UN's Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty that he turned his back and read a book during Foreign Minister Alexei Kosygin's luncheon. As he emphasized, this was the purview of the government and the Parliament of Trinidad and Tobago. He would and could sign nothing. Members of our delegation quipped nervously. Siberia is looming. Its sub-zero temperatures hardly exceeded the freeze between Williams and the Russians. The former matched his hosts head-to-head in both rudeness and discourtesy. He refused to speak for the rest of the Moscow trip, openly dismissive of their blandishments ranging from a ride in the presidential plane to fishing with Leonid Brezhnev, the supreme Soviet leader. And the Russians declared offensively that Trinidad and Tobago should stick to what it did best, calypso and steel band. In some, she goes on to say, I am unabashedly enthusiastic about Eric Williams, and as well, so this is Erica Williams here speaking. But again, it just goes to show how rooted Eric Williams' belief in and his commitment to independence and all that that meant was. And so, as I said before, it wasn't simply enough to become an independent and just leave it at that, as some other Caribbean countries would have chosen to do. And some 60 years on after receiving independence, they still maintain as their head of state the British monarch, right? And it was only now that some of them have seen the need to move away from that and to perhaps truly be declared an independent. Of course, we still maintain certain relics, if you want to call it that, from our colonial past, such as the Privy Council, which remains our final appellate court, even our own parliamentary system, the Westminster system again. Would have gotten that from the UK, sorry. We have a number of laws still in our law books from colonial days that have not been amended or seen any significant change within the recent past. And again, we still have some streets that are named after, former British monarchs. I saw there's a raging discussion taking place where my former history teacher, Mr. Miguel Brown, would have chastised a reporter in some newspaper who would have written an article and identified some places in Trinidad and Tobago that are named after, bear the title of Queen. And the author or the journalist would have made the insinuation that these institutions and so on would have been named after Queen Elizabeth. But he would have been quick to point out that some of these institutions and entities, when they were named, could not have been named after Queen Elizabeth by virtue of the fact that some of these names were given long before she was born, such as Queen's Royal College. There's a stock joke going around that Queen's Royal College now has to be changed, the name has to be changed now to King's Royal College. And there's some people who are very serious about that, not being aware that Queen's Royal College was actually named after Queen Victoria and not Queen Elizabeth. Some people talk about the Queen's Park Savannah, Queen's Hall, and so on, right? So there is that element. I mean, there are also some people, and I've seen it and heard it quite often, some persons who are so disenchanted with the politics in Trinidad and Tobago and who feel aggrieved by both the two main political parties, and they would sometimes say, well, perhaps we should go back to the Queen at that time when Queen Elizabeth was alive, of course. And they're very serious about that there are people who, if given the opportunity in a referendum, would certainly vote for us to return to colonial rule. Because for some reason, they seem to think that that would be a better option. Then we are those who, on the opposite side of the spectrum, and a little bit, the extreme in their beliefs. But anyway, but one of the main changes that Trinidad and Tobago would have undergone when we became a republic in 1976 was our head of state changed from the Queen to the President. And unfortunately, as the current president would have lamented in Republic Day address, a lot of people aren't aware of the role and function of the president. And as a result of that, she has been the object of scorn and insults, mostly coming from the Yellow Party, again, spurred on by people like Anil Roberts, who like to go out there, spread misinformation, right? And then knowing full well that the members of the literati are going to latch on to it and run with that. And as the president said, some people in this country need to do their research rather than simply run with the foolishness that you hear from certain mouthpieces, right? Let me see if I can find this here. Right. So this is Her Excellency's message for Republic Day. She says, on the heels of my recent visit to the United Kingdom to attend the funeral service for Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, not Queen Elizabeth II, as she was dubbed by the misleader of the opposition, but Queen Elizabeth II, I found myself revisiting the issue of republicanism and asked myself yet again, as I now ask you, whether the transition from an independent nation with the Queen as head of state to a republic whose head of state is the president was more change in nomenclature and form than one of real and meaningful significance. This year marks 46 years since the people of Trinidad and Tobago severed the last of the colonial strings and embraced republican status. What were the tangible benefits, if any, of that change, and have they had any salutary effect on our system of governance? From 1962, independent status afforded Trinidad and Tobago control of its day-to-day affairs. Power was transferred from the crown to the people. Gone were the days when critical decisions that affected our daily lives were made by a distant sovereign. However, Her Majesty the Queen remained our head of state with the Governor-General as her representative. Upon taking office, the Governor-General, ministers of government, judicial officers, and other office holders pledged an oath of allegiance to Her Majesty, her heirs and successors, and not to Trinidad and Tobago. Transferring that allegiance to the people of Trinidad and Tobago was a natural and necessary step in our journey of self-realization. And it was felt that true independence required complete sovereignty with an indigenous head of state in whom, as written in the Republican Constitution, executive authority is vested. And this was achieved on August 1st, 1976, when Trinidad and Tobago became a republic. On the 24th of September, our parliament convened for the first time under the new Republican Constitution. So again, it had nothing to do with a need to celebrate Eric Williams' birthday or Eric Williams' need for self-aggrandizement. The Republican Constitution created new and significant offices, including that of the President, with its critical function of ensuring the independence of other important public offices, for example, the Chief Justice, independent senators, and members of commissions. And in a number of these offices, the President would act in his or her discretion and for others after consultation with other holders of high office. Interestingly, it is debatable whether the transition to Republic has brought about any sea change in these roles, function, and responsibility of President vis-a-vis Governor-General in light of the fact that Trinidad and Tobago has a non-executive presidency, notwithstanding the constitutional wording. The average citizen, even after 46 years of Republican statehood, still, when reference is made to the president, tends to think of Guyana and the U.S. executive-type president, who is both head of the state and head of government, exercises control over the cabinet and other arms of government, and is involved in the day-to-day running of the country. Under our Republican Constitution, the president does not exercise any direction or control of the government and has no constitutional or other legal power or authority over the operations of government agencies. Let me read that again for the benefit of members of the illiterati. Under our Republican Constitution, the president does not exercise any direction or control of the government and has no constitutional or other legal power or authority over the operations of government agencies. Many of us would remember that in his inaugural speech, former President Anthony Carmona made that infamous statement, "Powers you think I have, I do not, and powers you think I don't have, I do." Unfortunately, he never ventured to tell us what were the powers he had and the powers that he didn't have. And so it was left in abeyance and up to the general average citizen to figure it out for themselves, thereby allowing people like Anil Roberts and Kamla Prasad Bisesa and others in the UNC executive to come and put out there what they would like people to believe are the powers of the president, and resulting therefore in the president being attacked ad nauseum all the time from them. But I continue. The word republic is derived from the Latin term res publica, meaning public affair, and it describes a form of government in which the affairs of the nation are public rather than private concerns. They are business for all of us. On becoming a republic, we signal to the world that every member of society, not just those elected to office, was ready and prepared to take full charge of and care for its affairs. For Republican status to have any meaningful significance, the people must be willing to take up this mantle of responsibility, and in order to do so effectively, citizens must be informed and educated. Two interesting words. Every Saturday we are here to educate and inform. And all you come and do is misinform and miseducate. But anyway, doing their own research and interrogating their sources of information, not accepting lock, stock, and barrel what appears in the media, traditional or social. At best, that can be a jump-off point for further reading and investigation and the forming of their own reasoned opinion. Armed with national views, or rather rational views, obtained from this process, citizens must become watchful and aware of the elements of the political process, watching the parliament proceedings, following the reading of the budget, which takes place tomorrow, and monitoring government releases and communications. An alert citizen can become engaged and involved in the political process, not necessarily in party politics, but by voicing and conveying concerns to elected officials, attending public consultations, creating their own platforms when none exist or are accessible, advocating for issues, and, of course, voting. In the process, be prepared to roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty. Nation building is no task for the faint-hearted, and full immersion by every citizen is required if we are to fulfill our potential as a republic. In order for Republic Day to mean more than just another public holiday, it is critical to have enthusiastic, intelligent, and sustained participation in all matters that affect us day to day and in the long term. The price of a model republic is, like that of liberty, eternal vigilance, and I wish the people of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago a purposeful Republic Day. The message from Her Excellency Paula May Weeks. It's interesting to note that the president's term comes to an end in less than 6 months. Her current term of office will end on March 18th, 2023. So it's left to be seen whether or not she would be returning as president, either being invited so to do by the government, or if they would have someone else in mind, and whether or not she would even be inclined to take up such an offer given the level of vilification that she has had to endure over the last 4.5 years. Again, stressing the need for people to become educated and informed on the Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago, what is the role of the president, what are the powers she has, the powers that she doesn't have, so that when people keep calling on the president to talk about this and talk about that is happening in society, and fail to understand that for the president to come out and criticize the government on things that the average public may think she should, creates an avenue for a constitutional crisis. Because if there is a perception that the president is engaging in a war of words with the government, with the prime minister, let us not forget that the prime minister has a constitutional mandate to meet with the president on a regular basis to discuss matters of state. And so we, as average citizens, are not privy to those discussions. And therefore, I imagine that in those meetings, the president, if she has any concerns or any questions, she would put it to the prime minister, and he would respond accordingly. And if the president is satisfied with the responses that she has gotten from the prime minister, there is no need for her to come out in the public and simply create a ruckus, because that is what people want. Because somebody sent her a letter complaining that they find the government ain't doing a good job, and the road need to pave, and the health sector is this and that and the other and the next, and the price of food too high, and that the president should every Sunday night have an address to the nation to cuss out the prime minister because a few citizens feel that she should do so. There are few and people who feel that she has been largely absent, that she's drawing a salary under false pretense, that she's not doing her job. The president is doing the job that has been assigned to her based on the Constitution. And again, as she is telling us here, some of you all need to go and read and do research, read the Constitution that treats with the office of the president and understand what is the role and function of the president, what she can and cannot do, or whoever is the office holder, right? But again, the UNC chooses, and first time, to my recollection, in the history of this country, that we've had an attempt to impeach a sitting president, right? Which the UNC attempted to do and failed miserably. Why? Because they tell you and they tell the citizens of this country that the president is in cahoots with the prime minister, that she is an undercover PNM. That is there. Yeah. There, that she's an undercover PNM, right? That's what they want to tell you. All of this foolishness. And anyway, let me see if I get this here. As a result of that, the president, as I said before, has been the subject of much ridicule. The likes of Arnold Roberts, who have accused her of all manner of things. So again, I crave your indulgence in allowing me to play this. Just bear with me for 1 second. Right. Right. It's just 4 minutes long, folks, so don't get vexed with me now, please. But I just felt the need to play this, right? So let me see here.
The roads like dogs all across Trinidad and Tobago. You didn't take out your flipping handkerchief and shed a tear. You total disgraceful clown. It's a holiday that So President Weeks said more Commonwealth nations may break from the monarchy. Who asked you? You're an expert? More people in Trinidad and Tobago will break from the presidency because you replace the monarchy and you are more disrespectful to the people of Trinidad and Tobago. MP Rudy Indarsingh put up that and showed what sort of nonsense, what a statement by Rudy Indarsingh. I don't know if we have it. Yes, we have it there. But in summarizing it, he said, Paula May, you were nowhere to speak to your people when they asked you questions about August 11, 2021. How did you allow Keith Rowley to come to President's house? How did you allow him to speak to you? How did you allow him to influence you to breach Constitution Section 123.4 to thwart a merit list? How did you in turn influence Bliss Sipasa to withdraw a list that she could not withdraw, having delivered it previously? You stayed silent with your arrogant self, but you've gone to sit down in Sky Network in England to talk about the Queen. People were talking to you. Rudy Indarsingh said you didn't go and see Andrea Barrett's parents, other dead girls' parents. You didn't go and see the 4 divers, or you didn't go and see the Boudram who survived. You didn't go and see their families. You didn't care. You went on the Esplanade to Chucky Jam and wine to pan music and feel you as a president. You going to sit on international media to pretend like someone cares what you say. And then on top of that now, you go on and embarrass Trinidad and Tobago. Run the video and play what this woman said.
What will be going through your mind as you sit in the Abbey tomorrow looking back on the era?
On a personal level, I suspect I shall shed a tear or two. I was looking on the television and saw her grandchildren standing vigil around her coffin. And it was so touching, you know. And I thought, well, I really would have to carry my handkerchief with me because it's quite possible that I may shed a tear for the Queen.
Yes. Yes, turn up the volume there. Yes. You go shed a tear, just like Convent Girl. You pulled to the side and you wept. You saw the Queen's grandchildren and you shed a tear. You didn't see the little child burying his daddy who was left in a pipe by Paria, by the PNM government for 39 hours without rescue, without rationale, without reason. You didn't see that baby crying over his daddy's grave. You didn't see that. You didn't see the families bawling and crying as Paria and the PNM disrespected them and wouldn't even give them water and a pizza as their loved ones were dying for 39 hours in a pipe by the government. You didn't see Andrea Barrett's father and all the vigils and all the candlelight. You didn't go and light a candle with the people and walk. You didn't see them. You didn't carry a handkerchief to shed a tear. Since you breached the Constitution and thwarted the merit list on August 11, 2021, 610 citizens have been murdered. Only 10 cases have been solved. You didn't shed a tear for those 600 murdered people. Over your tenure, when you helped Rowley select DCP Duns as a commissioner of police, how many women have been raped and people going home invasion and being battered and stolen and shot? People are being killed in bars by doubles vendors in the roads like dogs all across Trinidad and Tobago. You didn't take out your flipping handkerchief and shed a tear. You total disgraceful clown.
Consider the black sheep of holidays. It's a misunderstood holiday. And
Right, so here it is that you have, Senator Annie Roberts referring to the president as a disgrace, right? Referring to the commissioner of police as DCP dunce. So he has a problem with the majority. The only high office holder in the country doesn't have an issue with is Kamala Prasad Bisesa, right? But you have a problem with everybody else. And let me just touch quickly before the ads come up. You see this nonsense that they like to talk about there. And one of the main things, the issue which would have led to their decision to try and impeach the president. This, again, merit list. That from time to time, well, not time to, more often than not, I keep seeing members of the UNC, supporters of the UNC, always talking about in relation to the current crime situation. That if Gary was there, thing would have been different and Gary. And the reason why Gary not there is because Rowley went and he talked to Paula May Weeks and got her to pull back the merit list, and Rowley tinker with the merit list and all kind of bacchanal, and that is why Gary wasn't there, and it's because she pulled back the list and it didn't go to the parliament, otherwise Gary Griffith would have been the commissioner of police. To members of the literati, right? Let me see if I can get it through all thick skull again. That notwithstanding anything that would have said with who went to the president's house and whatever discussion was had and this whole situation with the merit list being pulled back and whatnot, right? Can you all or anybody from the UNC tell me where in the Constitution does it say that the president cannot pull back the merit list? Where does it say that? Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that. But they want to tell you that the president breached the Constitution, yeah? And that if it wasn't for her, and if she didn't allow Rowley to think and whatever, that this would have gone to Parliament. And again, you clowns seem to forget that in 2018, Gary Griffith became Commissioner of Police because the government decided to support his nomination or the recommendation of his name. Gary Griffith was not first, second, or third on the list, he was fourth. So even if nothing happened with respect to the merit list and the list that Blessy Prasad and her team had populated and sent, even if it had gone to the parliament and it had been debated, the government was under no obligation to select the first person on the list, the second, the third, the fourth, or for that matter, anybody from that list. They could have rejected the entire list and say, go back and do it over. So this foolish concept that this clown, Anil Roberts, and others from that party want to sell to the public, that the reason why Gary Griffith is not there is because the merit list, and if the merit list had gone and all of that, and Constitution, well, you're talking nonsense. And let me just remind you all, right, that notwithstanding all of that, that Gary Griffith was appointed to act as Commissioner of Police upon expiration of his substantive term as Commissioner, right? And the only reason why that acting appointment came to an end prematurely was because your UNC former Attorney General, Anand Ramlogan, through his lackey, Ravi Balgobin Maharaj, petitioned the court, right, to make an interpretation with respect to the appointment, Gary Griffith's, or the legitimacy of Gary Griffith's appointment to act. And it was based on that action by Anand Ramlogan through his lackey, your UNC former Attorney General, is why Gary Griffith's acting appointment came to an end. It had nothing to do with Dr. Rowley going to the president's house. It had nothing to do with Blessy Prasad and anything like that. It had all to do with your UNC former Attorney General, who is now before the court on multiple charges. He went to the court to query the legitimacy of that appointment, and it was on that basis that Gary Griffith was removed as acting Commissioner of Police. That's all. You should forget that. It seems you all don't talk that. No, that conveniently slips your minds. And it was Gary Griffith who told us what he believed to be the reasoning behind why Anand Ramlogan did that. Again, lest you forget, Gary Griffith is a material witness in one of the cases that Anand Ramlogan now has to answer to before the court, the witness tampering case. And what we were told by Mr. Griffith is that he suspected the reason why Anand Ramlogan did what he did was to create a defense so that when the matter comes up for hearing and Gary Griffith is under cross-examination, that the defense team for Anand Ramlogan can say that Gary Griffith is a hostile witness, that his testimony is lies because he is saying what he is saying only because he wants to get back at Anand Ramlogan for causing him to lose his job as Commissioner of Police. That is what Gary told us. So that when the matter comes over here and they say, you know what, all that he's saying there, that's not true. Mr. Griffith, isn't it true that you have an axe to grind with Mr. Ramlogan? Because Mr. Ramlogan would have gone to the court and questioned the legitimacy of your appointment to act as Commissioner of Police, and on that basis, you would have lost your acting appointment, and therefore you are now here today to make this testimony because you have an issue and an axe to grind with Mr. Ramlogan. Isn't that so? Does Gary tell us that? So when all they want to talk this dotish talk about, oh, if the list had gone to the parliament and Gary were, all you're talking nonsense. And that is why the president has to say in her address, go and do all your research. You need to be educated and informed on how the thing works. All right? So whether the list went or it didn't go, they would have, Gary Griffith didn't stand a snowball chance in hell, because the members of parliament on the government side was not going to support his nomination. You understand? So you all need to stop talking this trash and this foolishness on social media about this because of this and because of merit list. Merit list, my foot. Do as the president say. Go and get yourself informed. Do some research instead of being intellectually lazy and only coming on social media and on the airwaves and talking a pack of nonsense and again reinforcing why it is we call you all dunce. We go to the ads because the bills have to be paid, and we come back on the other side at 12 o'clock. Stay locked.
.9 is counting down 91 days of Christmas. Yes, 91 days of Christmas. It's karaoke, prizes to be won, giveaways. It's the 91 days of Christmas on the street. 919 FM.
I could sing, I could say now. Oh, it's Christmas.
It's the launch of Legacy's 2023 presentation, a TikTok affair. On Saturday, October 1st at Ibiza Lounge. Come TikTok yourself with Youngster, Mystical, Caution Sound, DJ Tari and Parky, Music Jazz, Nigel Snipes, and much more. Win an all-inclusive Legacy Carnival package and other door prizes. Tickets at Legacy Mass Camp, Brooklyn Bar, and Legacy Committee members. Call 622-7466 or 362-5959 for info. TikTok, it's trending. TikTok. At Legacy Band Launch, Saturday, October 1st, Ibiza Lounge. Courtesy, Blue Waters, Coca-Cola, Wiggins Light Effects, Forest Park Punch and Rock. And powered by Rockstone Tonic Wine.
If you're experiencing pain, constipation, headaches, poor blood circulation, high or low blood pressure, diabetes, cancer, swollen or darkened feet, come visit us at Health and Wealth Lifestyle, located at 73 Eastern Main Road, Barataria, opposite Eastern Credit Union. We at Health and Wealth Lifestyle offer a wide range of services. Come and experience our new 3D analyzer, which allows you to have a look inside your body. We also provide live blood analysis, iridology, ionic foot detox with foot soak and foot massage, aquatherapy, full body massage, and organic supplements on sale such as Nano Silver, Nano Zinc, Body Light, cold pressed sesame oil, and more. Health and Wealth Lifestyle, located at number 73 Eastern Main Road, Barataria, opposite Eastern Credit Union. For more information, call 275-8359 or 288-1108.
Join Nicole Huggins for Health and Wealth Lifestyle Tuesday morning from 11:05 to 12 noon. Right here on the street, 919 FM.
Tune in to the Street 919 FM every Friday from 9:15 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. with Kingdom Health Services, situated at number 125 Eastern Main Road in Tunapuna. For the program, Health and Healing, merging the old with the new with Mr. Brent Diet. For more information, call 318-7471 or 484-0141 or 360-4100. It's all about Kingdom Health Services on the street, 919 FM.
Join Pastor Kelvin Heinerine and friends for The Way, The Truth, The Life Radio Ministry, a Church of God ministry, live on the street 919 FM from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. This and every Sunday on the street 919 FM. Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father except through me. John chapter 14, verse 6. For further information, contact 686-3845-349-5178 or 342-7303.
Share the live. Share the live. The Street 919 FM on Facebook and Instagram. Share the live. Iowa George on Instagram. Share the live. Iowa TV and Street TV on YouTube. Share the live. The Street 919 FM.
Welcome back and thank you for staying locked to the Street 919 FM. If you're just joining us, you're late, but you're tuned into Cooking with Dominic on a Sunday. Just one other, and we were discussing the whole issue today of the holiday we celebrated yesterday, Republic Day, the significance or the lack thereof. A lot of people don't really place too much significance on it as they do with Independence Day, and I think it was fortuitous that the president had decided to move the national awards from Independence Day, as it used to be for many years, to Republic Day. So at least there is some level of prominence placed on Republic Day. And those awards would have been held last evening. And again, we extend congratulations to Neil Iwer George on receiving a national award. But, you know, we can't really blame some citizens for the level of or the lack of interest that they show in the significance of the Republic Day holiday, given the fact that some of you may recall that in 1996, the then government under Basdio Pandey took a decision to remove Republic Day as a holiday when they decided to give or to institute a new holiday, that being the Shouter Baptist holiday. Rather than add another holiday to the calendar, they decided to remove one to make way for the other, and the day chosen to be removed was in fact Republic Day. And it took the Patrick Manning administration upon resumption of office in 2002 to reinstate Republic Day as a national holiday so that some level of significance and prominence could be placed on that particular day. Yeah? But to the best of my recollection, when that decision was taken in 1996, of course, that was something, I was still back in school in those days, but I can vividly recall there wasn't much hue and cry from members of the population with respect to that decision by the Pandey administration. Perhaps persons didn't, again, not understanding the significance of the day or placing any significance on the day. That is. But UNC, of course, are no strangers to tinkering with holidays, national holidays, in terms of giving significance and prominence to and removing same, because when around same time when they took the decision to change Arrival Day, the Arrival Day holiday to Indian Arrival Day, and to make it applicable to a singular ethnic group rather than all persons who would have arrived in Trinidad and Tobago regardless of ethnicity. Yeah, so that's just a piece of history there for those of us who would have forgotten. Yeah, all right. So 342-008-146-653-91. We're taking your calls. So the lines are open. As I said, you know, we deviated a little bit today from the usual that we would normally do on a Sunday. So, yeah. Hello, good afternoon, Jenny.
Hi, good afternoon, Dominic.
Hi, hi.
To all the callers and listeners for 91.9, the whole crew, Tobago and Trinidad. I first want to wish TNT again Happy Republic Day, and thanks for the information that you have shared, because it has really become a holiday that people really doesn't pay much mind to.
Yes.
Yeah, so it was good that you were able to bring that level of consciousness this morning, and also that the award ceremony was held on Republic Day so that it will have some significance. When you think about the awards, you think about Republic Day. I also want to send condolences to the family of Hazel Brown on her passing. And I also want to congratulate Mr. Neil Iwer George on his achievement in getting a national award for his contribution in culture, along with Dr. Parasram and his whole team, the medical team that we saw for 2 years in our faces. We didn't even know that they existed. We didn't know that there were those type of trained personnel in those type of medicine in this country. Dr. Trotman, Dr. Hines, Dr. Richards, I think it is, and about 2 or 3 others. So I want to thank this government for recognizing their contribution in medicine and in terms of treating with the pandemic, this pandemic that we had first time in how much years we had a pandemic like this. And I know that the Prime Minister would have also indicated that the workers within the medical field, they too will get some type of benefit or bonus or something to recognize their contribution, because everybody wouldn't be able to get a national award, of course. Dominic, you see the same way a disclaimer, this is my opinion, you see the same way a disclaimer is played when any one of us may have called and will have said something that may not be like totally radio friendly. I think that when you play these offensive things from Anna Roberts, who speaks stilts and naked and all of them, a disclaimer also should be played so that we know that their behavior is to be rejected. It doesn't matter if they had made a lie or something, that their words be rejected. And nothing good is going to come from Anna Roberts and because they are damaged. I'm saying that they are tainted politically and otherwise. So they only have one way to go because they have already made their part in the way the things are saying. So to change from that now, they will have to answer a lot of questions, in my opinion. So they are tainted. You're not going to get anything better coming from them. You're not going to get anything to stimulate your mind other than feeling irritated and disrespected, just as we feel with what's happening in THA. But again, you say you're not going to treat with that now. It's about Republic Day. So again, thank you for bringing that information. And everybody, be blessed, stay blessed, much love, and Dominic, reach home safely.
Thank you, Jenny. Yeah, and certainly we'll be dealing with THA on Tuesday. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dominic.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Trinidad and Tobago citizens. Happy Republic. You know, and like you said, a lot of people, and it's not that they don't know, because they go to parties and functions during those times, right? But I don't know why they think it's not significant. If they think about their birthday, their parents' birthday, you know, and other anniversary surrounding their life, you know. And because at my mom's home in Valencia, I think I was the only one who put up a flag, you know. And I was telling a businessman yesterday, so why don't you put up some of the time? Because a lot of business people sell those flags and stuff. I'm not sure if he had any, but I always had mine there, so when the occasion come, I would put it up. He said, well, when he's finished. But, you know, and that's the thing. We know when we're going to die or when we're going to do anything.
True.
You know, and
yes.
Yeah, so, you know, it's important that we recognize who we are as a republic country, independent country, and it doesn't matter. And if you can let somebody control your mind, and doubt what you believe without you doing research, and you are enslaved to them. You have to remember that. And you point out a whole lot of things in terms of the holidays, in terms of recognizing our leaders. And I'm saying, Dominic, everybody support a political party, whether you're president. So what you tell me? So even if the president, let's just say the president is support the PNM. So what about the opposition? Who does she support? And when she come into the country as a leader, as a prime minister, does she support UNC or PNM? So we must reject her as a UNC, because you must say we don't want a UNC leader. Oh gosh, come on, people. Do not allow these people to interfere with the way you think or your beliefs, because you are enslaved to them. They're enslaving you. The white people are not here, right? The English are not here. They have nothing to you know nothing. All you know about is what the government put in place to better your life. And PNM have done such a good job. And if you reject that, then you reject good living. I want to say a pleasant day to everyone again. Take care.
Thank you.
Morning,
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Sorry. Good afternoon, Dominic.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Good afternoon to your listeners. Good afternoon to your viewers. Good afternoon to all of 91.9 family. Good job as usual. Thank you, Dominic, for that piece of knowledge there. Thank you, Sister Jenny, also, and all the positive contributions. Dominic, I just wonder how it is that people like Roberts, Lal, all of them, with the level of conversation and the level of how they address the nation and what they come forward with and the tone, you know, real rum shop smoke weed on the corner kind of tone that they constantly come into the public with it. That has amazed me, you know, Dominic, to be honest with you. You know, and, you know, they want to speak about PNM in such a way. And I am in total admiration for the PNM party, not from their perspective in terms of a second fan or anything like that, but in terms of how educating the society is embedded in its functions and how we were able to get people like Dr. Parshram and company in terms of running the you know, the pandemic and stuff like that. Well-deserving awards. Congratulations to Iwer, George, too. You know, so I just want to tell people, the positive people, especially the PNM people, and, you know, the way they just label it as if, you know, the PNM is some kind of fly-by-night party. It is an institution worthy to be followed like Twitter, if you understand what I'm trying to say. The way how they do things, the way how they educate the masses, and they are constantly on an educational drive, and the decency in which they put across the policies and the arguments, even when it's arguing time and all. The way how they handle it is something to behold. So I want to say congratulations to all the successful people who have helped to inspire the nation. Dominic, bro. If you understand what I'm saying, a republic to you, Trinidad and Tobago. Let's keep it positive, especially the 91.9 family. You know, we full of love and we're trying to teach them how to be civil. I want to say good morning to Tobago. Happy Republic to the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. The division exists in all their shallow heads. They're all just imagining and bought into dreams, and let's get this country united and let's come together against what is affecting us itself. Have a nice day again. Thank you very much for allowing me this discussion.
Thank you, sir. And of course, notwithstanding the good work that was done by the members of the health team, yes, the UNC wasted no time in labeling Dr. Parshram and his team as PNM because they got awards. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to my brother Dominic.
Hey, Andrew.
Yes, listening very attentively to that thing that was talking about the president. I was disrespecting the president. And this is the thing that Kamala wants people to vote for, to put her back in power.
Yes.
This is the thing they carry into the Senate, disrespectful. Kamala is very disrespectful. He's talking about the president, disrespectful. What about Kamala? Kamala put this thing on top of people, bring him back into the Senate. And here, they should have some law to deal with it. So you must have some sort of respect as the head of state. Even though like that, just keep yourself to yourself. You understand? But you can't disrespect the head of state in that kind of manner, in that kind of form. You understand? And Kamala sit down quiet because Kamala behind that, all of them. That's what I love to hear. They love these things. You understand? And you want to come back, get back into power. Kamala could never get in. All she's doing is that begin to grave deeper, political grave deeper and deeper. Because when you with wisdom, hear that man talking, so they don't want to go close to him at all. Because I could never associate myself with them. You know what the Bible says? Come out from among them and be separated. So nobody that's serving God could be under Kamala and them. Nobody that's serving the true living God could be under them. Because look at the manner in which that thing carrying on with the president. Look at the manner. And she's done quiet. And you want people who call themselves so-called Christians to follow you? To follow you? Or let them be really God, you know. God, he said, be careful. I am not mocked, you know. Nobody could mock God, you know. Never man on earth could mock God. God had the breath in his body. And God could take it out anytime. Anytime, any minute, any second. God could take it out from his body. I listen to that man very attentively, boy. Very attentively. I said, that behavior, boy. And Kamala have nothing to say about it. Kamala will call this, have nothing to say about it. She must be laughing. Must be laughing how the man carrying on. And she really thought she could bring him back in. She could bring him back, you know. The man really, and them is evil, boy. They're working evil. Have a blessed day, my brother.
Thank you, Andrew. Yeah. Let me see. Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, Dominic, good afternoon.
Central.
Dominic, while we grappling for crumbs, all you're having $1,500 a plate food in the Hyatt, boy. As soon as the UNC talk about where the money coming from the Bill Balaji house, all you start to do all kind of $1,500 a plate and thing. But we go find out, you know.
Yeah.
We go find out soon where that money coming to Bill Balaji house.
So you think that? So you think that dinner was planned in 1 week?
Cake sale or bake sale or whatever all they're using to build bars. Why all they choose to build bars? They house during when the P&M in office, why? All they could have built it when the P&M not in office. Start to build it.
When did we have the raffle and so on? Not when P&M was in office?
Where the money coming from? And this national award they gave out yesterday, Republic Day, I think this should have been done in Balaji House, you know. Because that thing reeks of politics, man.
Okay.
Yeah, what a politician I see getting things there like Jared Narayan and all of them, Rondon and all of them getting all kind of medal and things. All the things supposed to be done, Parasram and the SAIL team, all of them all that support like politics. That should be in Balaji House, all they giving out all these medals. And all they like to talk about life sport by Dominic. 100% of the people who benefited under the life sport program were African people.
Really?
Whether it was through legal means or whatever they were doing, that it was it. It's almost 100% P&M supporters benefited from life sport. One more thing. When the P&M in office is the public servants that is responsible for what he can place. But when Kamala is in office, it's Kamala and the ministers and them is responsible.
Right.
What kind of thing is that, boy, Dominic? Talk about that. Have a good afternoon.
Thank you, Central. Right. So I know it was only a matter of time before they come to talk about the P&M September Fair dinner and $1,500 a plate, because I saw it was prominent in one of the newspapers that they saw. No, they're going to have a field day about that. But and the talk from the UNC was that that whole dinner came about because Tim Gopi Singh last week Monday brought up the issue about Balize House and where the money coming from. So to cover the P&M thieving public monies to build Balize House, they had this dinner to see where they raise money from. First of all, for those of you who live in the south and on that side, south of the Caroni Bridge, and who may not be familiar, well, you all would have seen the pictures that Tim Gopi Singh put up of Balize House, right? So that didn't start last week. It didn't start last month, right? That level of construction, it didn't start 2 months ago. So we money already spent. So you can't take money from this dinner to spend on something that has already been built. You understand? And to think that this dinner came about because of what Tim Gopi Singh said. So you're trying to tell me that this whole dinner was organized in the space of less than a week? Really? Well, I can tell you that is not the case, right? That certainly is not the case. Okay? And the persons who would have attended that dinner had to dip in their pocket and fork out their $1,500. You understand? Yeah, so everybody paid the money. You know, we didn't do like what would have happened under the UNC, the People's Partnership, when they were in office, to use NGC to write a check for $1 million+ to buy tickets for the South Cancer Fete, so they could give to their friend, family, and financiers to go down south to the South Cancer Fete and drink, as Arnold Roberts would say, eat shrimps, not shrimp, shrimps, and drink scotch. Yeah, $1 million+ from NGC bank account, but they didn't talk about that in them time, right? I wasn't interested in where that money come from. I was jealous of the P&M because the P&M has had a home for over 60 years, and the UNC begging and lodging, knocking from pillar to post. I tell all you, go and apply to the HGC for any house. Right? I don't know. Tell Kamla to write to Mrs. Regis and see if perhaps she can help all you out. Or they move from opposite the the funeral home, now your headquarters is upstairs a rum shop. Well, that one perhaps is more appropriate to have your Monday night forum. But don't vex with the PNM doing what they have to do. You all want to label Dr. Parasuram and his medical team as PNM because they get awards, and now Central saying that he, the amount of politicians he see get awards last night and all kind of thing. You know the process to nominate somebody to get an award, Central? If you felt that somebody you know did something great and they were deserving of an award, any member of the public can go get the nomination form, fill it out, and you could nominate somebody to receive an award. That is how it works. It's not to say that Dr. Rowley sit down with the president, as well as claim with Gary Griffith, and say, okay, this is who we giving awards to. It is open to members of the public. So again, the president is admonishing people, do all your research now. Go and find out about these things before we come on radio and say things and, understand the process. Okay, so if you all were displeased with who got awards last night, I know there's only a matter of time before Arnold Roberts will view the tape again and then come to tell you that just like the last time when we had awards, it didn't have enough Indian. There's only a set of African people get and he's going to do a head count to tell you, well, it only had 5 Indian and the rest of them was Africans, because that was what he did last year. Anyway, Brian, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Dominic.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to your listeners and callers of 91.9. Dominic, and that is why the president in her Republic Day message had to tell people to go and do some research, because what a lot of people are doing is just listening to certain people who are denigrating the country, our country, their country, we country, and not understanding what republicanism means and how important it is. Just simply yesterday evening, you could have seen the diversity and the extent to which a common word that was used, and I always say Mr. Chance used this word whenever he makes his commentary, leadership. Many of them were leadership in their own sphere of endeavor. Right? There were a lot of leaders there, even in the Indian community. A lot of them had worked doing what they love to do over 30, 40, 50 years. You understand? But see, people wouldn't understand that. So what they do is denigrate leaders, true leaders in Trinidad and Tobago. And if I am the president of Trinidad and Tobago, and you are calling me an insipid, you know what? You are calling me a clown. You are calling me a glorified rubber stamp. I am not coming to sit with you to speak to you, right? Who only spewing hate and all of these things. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, Brian.
You hearing me?
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yes, I'm not going to come to sit with you who's spewing hate and has no respect for my office. If even you don't have respect for me, at least have respect for my office. And if you don't, you want me to come and sit with you and speak to you and speak on things of a political nature, which I'm not really supposed to do? Really? That is why they will always want to send letters to the United States of America and to these people who they feel colonialized and polish their boots to and kiss foot to and all these sorts of things, Dominic. That is why they will always want to see the Privy Council continue to be there. Because they don't want to move out of the colonial type of atmosphere and attitude and thinking. You understand? And the people who follow them will not do the research and try to attempt to understand what really republicanism means to Trinidad and Tobago. Right? That is how it is. So when you hear people like Central and they calling and trying to change the narrative and don't understand how the PNM, how long the PNM has been building their new home. When I say their new home, the same grounds, but the new building. You understand? I want to spew all those things that they know absolutely nothing about, and can't even have a home of their own, and wasn't even paying rent. Poor Basio Pandey got thrown out, if you recall, from Cuba, where they were staying there. You understand? Because they have the money. They didn't want to, you know what they were buying? They were spending $500,000 in alcohol. And when they left in 2015, it was found by the Prime Minister's residence. That is what they were spending money on. thing to drink and have a good time. So therefore, those who want to follow, and you're calling people who got these awards, PNM people, really, they're calling the Dr. Parasram and his team state-sponsored murderers. That's what they call them. Yes, that's what they call them. They are alive today because of those same people. And I want to say thank you to all of those and congratulations to all of those who got awards. And congratulations to Trinidad and Tobago for their 46th anniversary of republicanism. And Dominic, you continue to educate and advise because a lot of them need help. And I bet you a good bit of them are listening to you today. Thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, hi, Dominic.
Yeah, Jen.
I just had to call back again because this morning when you started out, you said that this morning is more about education and what the Republic Day is about, right?
Yes.
When you hear people like that gentleman who called in before Brian,
yes,
you realize how important it is to really educate the population. And that is why I always admire people who support the PNM in whatever way. Because the way when you hear them calling in and making those conversations that is devoid of logic. Because as you clearly state, a dinner in the Hyatt like that can't be planned in a week. The building that is put up there by Balize House, the money, whatever, okay, let's just suppose that this affair it had yesterday was for money to build Balize House. So then how Balize House is for advanced in what's building? So what did they build it for? What money they built it on? Wasn't there raffles and all that before? So if they come in to criticize whether PNM, UNC, whoever, I wish, because this station is about educating the listenership, I wish that people would come, especially those who from the UNC or appears to be supporting UNC, come with logic now so we could have a very intelligent conversation or a discussion than just coming like somebody writes something on a paper for you and choke you and say, go and say that. Because you do yourself a disservice, and we who have to suffer through listening to you and this foolishness that has becoming. Come in with something good so we can have a debate now. I don't even like to call the name because still calling the name, one of my brain cell might die. That's how ignorant this person does sound. And again, as you said rightfully, is the UNC ilk, the waterfront ilk, always calling to say something that has no substance. Call us something with substance so we could learn. Probably there are things we don't know with the UNC that we could learn. So that you know, okay, it's not like this or it's like this, whatever. But at the end, and UNC, as you say, all the years that Mr. Pandey would have built his party and how much years it existed, where's their headquarters? And the last time it was over a rum shop.
It still is.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So go all the fix all the business, all the throw all the dollar fest, throw all the $5 fest, throw whatever it is on Monday night for and get money and build something now. At least PNM is doing something to leave a legacy. Everybody could see the PNM. Come now, man. That's why it really has to be Monday night forum because you're upstairs at rum shop. When you come downstairs and you want to ease your mind is right there, you will go. That's just a total goal.
Thank you. Thank you, Jenny. Well, I must say, I have to hand it to whoever selected the UNC's current head office location. They understood the assignment. And if you want to get the supporters to come, you need to have a rum shop nearby. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, Dominic.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
To all the callers, listeners, online viewers. Dominic, for the people who is of the belief that national awards is a political something, and I'm talking about from what I know, there is a secretariat especially for that. Any member of the public, any group, whoever, could nominate whoever.
Yes.
It could be somebody in your community because there are different spheres. You have for like education, you have for sports, you have for culture. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But there is a secretariat. They can have no prime minister, no MP, nobody seeing about that. That is how it is done. So for all the bright people who feel it is political, please get it right. Have a good day.
Thank you, Angie. It wasn't political when the UNC was in office, when Kamala was prime minister. when she tried to offer Mr. Pandey and Mr. Manning awards, national awards, and both of them tell her thanks, but no thanks. That wasn't political, huh? Anyway, hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good evening.
Hi, afternoon.
Dominic, what's up there?
Hi, good.
I myself, I see a shower now come down there.
Yes.
And it roll up. Rain. Yeah, so I inside. This office, auntie.
Yes.
So everything with you cool?
I am good.
All right, I too. You hear?
Yes.
I just want to shout out to the Titan and everybody good evening and have a blessed day. Manu, Shak Lady, Mr. Napuna, and Sharon and Mommy Saw, and everybody. Okay? I can't call everybody name.
Yes.
Okay? So all you have a blessed evening and enjoy all your holiday. Okay?
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Dominic.
Kingsley.
Good afternoon to your listeners at this time, Dominic. And Dominic, the question I want to ask you this afternoon here, the CMO, how much people get die on this COVID in Trinidad? You have the figure?
Just about 4,200.
So the question I'm asking you and others, we give the highest award to the CEO for 400 and something thousand people dead under his watch.
No, not 400, not 400,000, 4,200.
Oh, 4,000, okay then.
Yes.
Thanks for the correction. So 4,000, we give a man the highest award. I am asking for the president to take it back. I am asking for the president to take it back. He do not deserve it. He do not deserve it. Under his watch. Because my count is, Dominic, it's 7,000 plus counting. And we ain't know the real figure. Because some of us out here do not believe in the figures that was given us. And it is our right. It is our right. No one could say it is not our right to do not believe the figure the CMO and the government was giving us. It's so shameful. And the UNC, where the UNC headquarters is, it is not only a rum shop there. There's business place around there. There's a car dealer place. There's a store. There's a shop. So by picking out one thing and saying it is the top of a rum shop, I believe that is like a hash on the UNC side. My good friend Dominic, it is a hash to say that the UNC shop is only on because and it is not a nightclub, because like during it have a little spot bar where workers, even lunchtime, because there's office place only, there's business place wrongly. And one thing I will support only with is the UNC should have or try to get their own headquarters, that because hey, it is the right thing to do. So to target a building or to target the Balize house, I wouldn't get myself in that one at all. You know, last night, last night, one of my good friends called me and they say, Kingsley, look how much Indians get award. I said, my UNC friend, I can remember last year, and as Robert said, it was only African get the award. I said, so don't go on the radio and say, okay, it'll look bad. Because I know Robert said last year that it was only African. And this year, I don't know who select or whatever, but it was half. And that person who called me, I don't see, but it seems that it's more Indians this term get awards. More Indians get awards. I will involve myself. I will not involve myself in that business of PNM having a a party for whoever they have that party for, or what take place there. The matter and the fact is that Monday is coming here, and this country is frightened. This country is scared of the tax, of what the taxman is going to do. This country is for over the last few days, yesterday and Sunday, all gas stations is being full because the little money they have in their pocket, they are filling the tank. People are going to buy the cooking gas because people know if cooking gas is going to go up. People are rushing to the grocery as I speak. Groceries are being packed out because they don't know after this evil tax budget. Dominic, I was strongly advised that this budget is for the upper class. Dominic, I strongly advise this budget is not for the poor. I wouldn't get myself involved in party and holiday house. Why is people hungry? Why is bread and butter that people have to pay more to travel? When people face the supermarket, they have to pay more. When people go in the grocery, they have to pay more. The roads in a mess. The tires, your shops, everything, busting, everything. Yeah, every 2 weeks you have to face the store to buy things. So this is the problem that my country is hurting. This is the problem my country is hurting. So why is the thing that I would get in the pasa about party and pasa about building? I think that the university should have a damn own building. And that is the fact. So I will get in that. I will lead in front and ask questions about Monday coming here. Because as I said, Dominic, as I close, as I said, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, they are scared. They are frightened. They do not know what to do next. Because they know the taxman is coming. They know the big boy is coming who raised gas 3 times. And this country never riot. And I ask my country to stay calm. I ask this beautiful twin island to stay calm. No matter how they force me to riot, we wouldn't riot. Because this country is a peaceful country. Dominic, I ask Trinidadians who follow the CPL, who follow the great cricket of the CPL. I see some disturbing video in Guyana last night in the overlay, in President Oval, where Chinese and Guyanese was fighting among themselves, flag was pulling. I tell the two countries, we are one. We are one Caribbean. It is just a sweet game. It's a game of curry chicken and chicken curry. It's a rivalry when Chimbago Night Riders meet and Guyana Warriors Nation meet. But the fans of both sides, we do not have to take it so far where we're fighting amongst ourselves to be pulling flag, man getting coffee in the face, man getting. I was surprised to see that is the behavior after the first time they ever reach in the playoff. The first time they keep the semi-final. Wise Trinidad have 4 trophies and have the record of keeping the final, have the record of having the largest crowd of supporting the take out. No matter, I do not support Chimbago Night Riders because of Bravo. I support Syndicate because I'm a Bravo follower. I'm a fan of Bravo. So anyway, Bravo go in the world, I follow his club because I'm a fan of Bravo. And by facts, Chimbago Night Riders do not own by Trinidad. It's owned by an Indian man from name of Shah Rukh Khan. These Chimbago Night Riders get paid. Chimbago Night Riders pay Trinidad and Tobago government, whoever government, to use the name. Yes, we have some.
I get the point, Kingsley. Thanks.
Okay, then. Thank you very much, Dominic, very much.
Thank
and
you.
I ask questions about that.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Hello, good afternoon.
Dominic.
Hi.
Good afternoon, you, my dearie.
Afternoon.
So, Dominic, what happened? Your show coming out Comedy Fest on this Sunday, reach over. No, it's a comedy fest. They're calling on the wrong program because I thought it's at the comedy fest from Monday to Friday. You understand me, Dominic? How are you doing?
I am good.
Well, to my friend, thank you for that ticket, but unfortunately, I really could not attend yesterday, Dominic, because what happened yesterday was one of my son's birthday.
Right.
Yes, he born me publicly, and I really choose us, to keep this little thing fit now, so I didn't really want to disappoint him.
Right.
Right. Otherwise, I would have been there.
Yes.
Mr. Central, I want to tell you something here this afternoon. Dominic, you know how much bush lime was kept and held for that Balizé house? You hear what I'm telling you about?
Yes.
Chagrama's bush lime apport. You hear what I'm telling you about?
Mm-hmm.
This money, it's sure terrible. Dominic, this money is not no taxpayers' money billing Balizé house, eh? You hear what I'm telling you about? I don't know if you ever. We used to keep red bush lime down there, down in Chagrama's down there. Those are the funds, and they keep all different things, caracal, whether to build Balizé house. Eh?
Right.
So I want to tell Central, that is not taxpayers' money billing Balizé house. Here you have it wrong. But Dominic,
yes, ma'am.
See my friend in Tobago. He started to call contractor name. Don't laugh. He started to call contractor's name, who get contractor and where they from and whatnot. You understand what I'm telling you about? Well, I was so shocked because I know throughout the interview, I started to laugh. You know what laughing? I tell you, it had more to come out, Dominic. This is just the smoke. It had fire still to come out. You know what I'm telling you about?
Yes.
And I was glad that Wendell Evans did what he had was to do. You understand me? Go across there and drop what he had to drop. So we wait on a lot of answer. You understand what I'm telling you about?
Yes.
So a lot of people would not have done these things because it was like a hush-hush. But due to the fact that Watson Duke didn't get the money to go and play the job all over the place, he wanted to go taxpayers' money. You understand me? Smoke start now, you understand me? It has fire. Dominic, I doubt it had the fire. Chuck it over that fire. You hear what I'm telling you about? But Dominic, you have a good one and you reach home safe, my dearie.
You too, thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Monson Judge.
Yes, I'm the principal of talk on a Sunday, a Tuesday, and a Thursday.
Greetings.
Right. Let me deal with the first. Mr. Paris, Dr. Parasam, and the team, congratulations. I'm going to, because I sit in my living room here, I want to congratulate myself, and I tend to be corrected. I was one of the first person after the COVID hit, and certain things was happening, and they started criticizing Dr. Parasam. And I called out on my Prime Minister and Trinidad and Tobago and the Health Minister that we should award Dr. Parasram Day. And this came to pass. And I'm going to give myself 100 claps for that. And all the people who nominated them, I am happy for you all doing it. I am glad and I welcome it. Ingrid, let me tell you something. Why you don't tell the former Prime Minister to give back her silk? She gave herself sick. What nonsense you talking about Dr. Parasam and 400 people? Millions of people die in the mighty America. The mighty America died because of COVID. Kingsley, why don't you want to talk and come with something sensible? I know that America better to but I can't tell you how to run the program. So they can deal wasting time and other people want to get into make up a contribution. Talking a pack of rubbish, even going into cricket and all kind of foolishness. And Mr. Central, let me tell you something. Ask your Prime Minister, the former one, how she getting money from giving a report, team. You ask her that. And where did the part of rat is getting 100 and something thousand to give her? What they say is birthday, gift and this, gift and all kind of foolishness. Why you don't ask those questions? You're coming to talk rubbish about PNM house, where the village. PNM have enough support for donkeys and years. They've been doing certain things to get all the money. And some of the members contribute and all kinds of things because they are a proper organized party. Right? They are properly organized and in government so long. So this is why they have sense and they know a man who builds a house is for his children, his children, children, and his children, children, children. That's the legacy of the PNM. Started by Dr. Eric Williams, and it goes ahead with whoever. So let me tell you about something. You, Central and Kingsley, you all get all the act together and say the right things and not feel that something like talking to schools out there about Kingsley company was half and half in and all kind of foolishness. Rubbish. If you are or Dr. Francois, or didn't know that he was angry or say all kind of nasty thing about him, come on. Could the money let me go on unless somebody else say something good?
Thank you, sir. I highly doubt Andy Roberts will do a live to say that too many Indians get awards this year. Anyway, let me not go there. Before I take this call, let me just respond to something Kingsley said, right? And every year before the budget, we always have the purveyors of doom and gloom. Oh, thing, and they're going and raise this and they're going and raise the same thing you all said last year. That them both was coming with this and coming with that and a whole set of thing and people frightened. And what? And you all like to call Colmember the tax man and he coming to bring tax and tax. I've made the point before on several occasions and I will repeat it. This administration, contrary to what the UNC likes to say, has done far more to provide tax relief to the citizens of this country than perhaps almost any other administration, right? I draw a reference to the fact that Keith Rowley and Colmember, the PNM administration today, were the ones that increased the personal allowance from 60,000, which it was for the entire time that Kamala Persad-Bissessar was there, to 84,000. That meant that $24,000 increase would have resulted in thousands of citizens in this country no longer paying pay-as-you-earn income tax. So plenty of them who was paying income tax under Kamala when the personal allowance was 60,000, thanks to Keith Rowley, thousands of them no longer pay income tax. And thousands more get to save paying $6,000 less in taxes in PAYE to the state than they were paying under Kamala. You understand? Because it went from 5,000 a month to 7,000. So once you're earning 7,000 a month and less, you're paying no income tax. And if you're earning more than $7,000 a month, you're saving $6,000 a year on your taxes. That's $6,000 that if Kamala Persad-Bissessar was Prime Minister, you would have had to pay to the Board of Inland Revenue every year. Keith Rowley reduced VAT from 15% to 12.5%. And if all you feel that 2.5% is minuscule and nothing to talk about, as I tell you all, go and look at the big ticket items on which you have VAT. You see that vehicle that David Lee bought? Yeah, perhaps that's part of the reason why the man who driving it didn't want to drive it. But a vehicle costing $2 million, if you could afford that, work out 2.5% on that and see what you would have been paying in VAT as opposed to what you're saving. It was the Keith Rowley administration that increased the ceiling for stamp duty from $850,000 to $2 million for first-time homeowners, so that young people and others who are looking to acquire their first home, instead of having to pay tens of thousands of dollars in closing costs and stamp duty, but for your first home, thanks to Keith Rowley increasing the threshold to $2 million, that is thousands of dollars that you're saving that you could now put towards buying furniture or painting your house or putting an additional room. Kamala Persad-Bissessar, any of you all in the UNC could come and tell me that she claimed that she took VAT off for 7,000 food items. What else did she do to provide tax relief for the average citizen? But anyway, I digress. Hello, good afternoon.
Dominic, good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
Dominic.
Yes, sir.
I hear you carry money to Tobago for Mount St. George wedding.
Me?
I hope PNM is paying for that.
Nah, I don't know about that. But Mount St. George gonna deal with you.
And Dominic.
Yes, sir.
So you went and check out. Tobago boundaries where they getting oil.
Me, no, sir.
They're now studying Tobago oil. But I ain't called for that. Dominic, let me show you something. When the UNC was in power, they were so sure they were getting that oil deal with Venezuela. Dominic, they were so sure they were getting that oil deal with Venezuela. They put up a chart, Dominic, they put up a chart at the percentage of how much Venezuela will be getting and how much Trinidad going to be getting. Dominic, they put up a chart and all. They were so sure they were getting that oil with Venezuela. 5 years, 3 months, 14 days, they couldn't get it. Dr. Rowley dived in head first and feel he could have get it before Camilla, so he could beat his chest. 7 years, Dominic, and Dr. Rowley can't get it yet. All the nonsense he did, sending Dennis Moses, sending Stuart Young, going and do the conga line in Venezuela, inviting Delcy, sanction plane landing in the airport, talking down to Mr. Mondello. 7 years, and he ain't get it yet, Dominic. They put up a trap. They were so sure they could get it. Look, Dr. Rowley, all the nonsense he did, and he can't get it yet. Dominic, I ain't done yet. We will continue. I will leave it there for now.
Yes, we'll leave it there. Leave it there. All right? But I hope when he gets it, you go call back and congratulate him. I hope when he gets it and you come back. Anyway, I'm going to allow Mount St. George to have the final say because he had set this almost. Mount St. George, go ahead.
I never said up to Dominic, good money for me. You telling our wedding and we know our wedding. You want to get involved in it? Yeah, what? Sell a suit to her. Sell a suit. Because tell me to Dominic and you bring it for me to go to the wedding. You understand? And you go and give it to Dr. Rowley and you have finished it. You, according to Dr. Dominic, when he gets it, I want you to call back. And I want to tell Kingsley something. All the people who go into the gas station today to fill up the tank, I wonder if it's going to last, that gas and diesel going to last for the whole entire year after the budget. And all who buy all the food, I wonder if those food going to last until next year, Christmas. So it doesn't make no sense. If you buy today, within a couple of days, you will have to go and buy again. So that ain't going to stop the budget. So then what happens? So the whole actually, not everybody will just try driving because they fill up the tank today and they'll have no money after it's finished. Or all who buy food, after that everybody will die. Well, you can have more than the COVID because nobody ends up eating, so they're going to die from starvation. All this stuff, just foolishness that they're coming and they're buying this and they're buying this and they're scared. It doesn't make no difference. So somebody got stuck living, they wouldn't build a house because the budget really didn't put on the galvanized on there. They will let the rain come and fall and wreck them. The rubbish can be all about tell people something that makes sense, man. Come on. Uncle Dominic, I know you're ready to leave, man. We're here tomorrow, Auntie Sharon and Uncle Brucey and Uncle Dominic again Tuesday. Love you, Trinidad and Tobago.
Thank you, Mount St. George. And we'll continue this discussion on Tuesday because I said we're almost out of time, but not out of things to say. Yeah, so tomorrow, budget day. Perhaps it's going to turn out to be much ado about nothing, as is normally the case. All the gloom and doom people claim that's going to happen, and Mr. Iwer going to increase this, that, the other. And the next, just remember, everything that increases, Mr. Iwer, Dr. Rowley, and the rest of the cabinet, they also have to pay the same prices. When they go to the groceries, the same high prices. When they go to the gas station, the same price they're paying, right? The machines don't read their card and say, well, is a minister of government, pay less, right? So we'll continue the discussion on Tuesday. Of course, we will have to touch on the budget and so on. Yeah, so do enjoy the rest of your Sunday, the rest of your weekend, folks. And yeah, and we will chat on Tuesday. God's willing. Join Sharon and Bruce in the morning for another edition of Titans of Democracy. Yeah, and yeah, so that's it for me. I'm out. Enjoy it.
Bills to pay, and so do we. Let's go pay some bills on the street 919 FM.
The views expressed are not